Halloween was a mammoth hit, raking in big bucks and, more shockingly, critical acclaim. It was credited for starting the slasher genre informally. Give it to Friday the 13th, but since Friday the 13th was a ripoff of Halloween, let's give it to Halloween. It made careers for Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter. It relaunched the career of Donald Pleasance, and as big as it was in 1978, it's bigger now with endless sequels, reboots, releases, retellings, rehashings, reimagining, and more. The Thing opened and closed in the summer of 1982. It flopped, it bombed, it tanked. For some reason, most blame E.T. Regardless, The Thing began to gain more popularity as it aged. It is more popular now, and there are countless fans out there who hail it as the greatest horror film of all time. It's also been called John Carpenter's most complete film by fans and himself. A small nothing film grew to become an ageless classic. So I'd like to introduce the panel that's going to be judging the face of these films. We'll start with Allie, who I worked with on Women Who Effin' Love Horror. How's it going, Allie?
Hi.
Where are you from?
Outside of Orlando, Florida, Hurricane Town.
And currently you're living through one, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for being on the show. All right, and we have Liv. How's it going, Liv?
Good. How are you?
Okay, now Liv I just met, which is awesome. That's part of the cool things about doing these shows. Where are you from?
I am from Los Angeles, California.
Cool. And Jay, okay, so Jay Phillips, me and him had a podcast. Seems like a long time ago.
A very long time ago, yeah.
And it did so amazing.
Everyone loved it.
Yeah. Went our own ways. How's it going, Jay?
Good. It's going good. Thanks for having me here, man. Well, I'm from downtown Toronto. Just a couple of buses away from you.
All right. Okay. So we're going to start off with story and plot, and we're going to start off with Jay because you are chronologically in my
your window. I'm in the spot to start. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go right up front and say that as far as plot goes, I'm going to give it to The Thing. I'm a huge Halloween fan, but Halloween is essentially, for all purposes, kind of plotless. I mean, it has just like one inciting incident, killer escapes, and then a whole lot of stalking, which I love. It's like one of my favorite movies, but it's, as far as plot goes, it can't hold a candle to The Thing.
Wow,
that's
laid
my
down
opinion.
pretty hard.
I know.
Liv?
Not shocking. I'm also going to give it to The Thing. I mean, it's like Jay just said, there's so much going on in The Thing, and there's like a lot of intrigue. You never know who's next, and that one I think keeps you a little bit more on the edge of your seat than Halloween does. I love Halloween, don't get me wrong, but like it is very straightforward.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of, don't misunderstand me, don't get me wrong. I love the fun.
Yeah.
We're all fans. Sorry, Allie?
I was just saying it. You got to defend it. That's a hard question. I'm so happy I didn't have to go first.
Okay, but you're up now.
The thing about Halloween, from a young lady's perspective, because it's a babysitter story, that always made it kind of worse because I saw it around babysitting age. But The Thing has more depth and more story to it. There's a story before the movie, so got to give it to The Thing. That's a hard question. Well, not the story. Oh, yeah, The Thing.
All right,
unanimous.
So how dumb will I look if I go with Halloween? Yeah, let's just assess plot. And the plot of The Thing is nothing original in the sense that it's like a retelling of Invasion of the Body Snatchers and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily original, but it is very unique, I think, into the horror world still to this day. I mean, there's whodunits and it kind of encompasses that. Halloween's plot, I think we kind of ran it to the ground a little bit. I mean, yes, it's a stalker film, Jay, but you know, it's got some pretty cool, you know, elements of the doctor hunting him and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to The Thing. So I made cards.
Nice.
All right. So sometimes we're gonna have ties. Sometimes we'll what was that? Sometimes we're gonna have a clear-cut winner, but in the end we should have one.
There we go. I can just hold one up.
Look at that.
Got them on hand. Floating
Nice
around.
job. All right. So setting, I'm going to set it off with this one. So we have an awesome setting in both, I think. So this one will be kind of interesting. It's more of a preference. Haddonfield is a suburban town in Illinois that's, you know, around Halloween time, which is really, really cool. My knock on this one is that, you know, we all know the story that it was shot in LA and that they couldn't really get that, you know, fall feel as far as the look and stuff like that. So it kind of lacks a little bit there. Antarctica is pretty cool. I got no pun intended. So there was honestly no pun intended. Oh wow.
Sure.
Someone's harsh on me. So I'm just going to keep this short with myself. I'm going to give the setting to The Thing because I love winter films, and you know, it doesn't get more wintry than Antarctica. So let's go to Allie.
It's just scarier in The Thing. I mean, Haddonfield is so beautiful and Halloweeny, but it's just terrifying in The Thing, and they're so isolated. The Thing. Okay. God damn, I love Halloween, but yeah, The Thing.
Jay?
I'm going to be contrary. I'm going to say I love the setting of Halloween. There's something about the safety of the characters, like the safety of the setting that makes the fact that everything is so dangerous and terrifying, like just all the worse. Whereas they're already kind of effed. Do we swear on this?
Yeah, you
can. They're all right. I mean, like you know, the generators go out, they all die. If you know some horrible disaster goes out and they all die. The fact that there's an alien there kills them all, it's like they all die. But like there's so much danger already present in the setting that for me the safety of Halloween and anyways.
Well,
that's it.
Yeah. All right. Liv?
I'm gonna agree with Jay, only because, so I think that the reason that the setting for Halloween works so well is because like the home is supposed to be considered like your safe space. And also, I mean, both of these movies are old enough that you tend to watch these movies in your own living room. So it's kind of like bringing the terror to the actual setting you're already in. And it like really, you know, aside from the fact that he somehow is fine at the end of the movie and runs away, it is a very plausible story that just like a large man could break into your home at any time and terrorize you. And I think that the location works really well for The Thing, but everything about, I'll never go to Antarctica for any reason I can see. So like everything about it feels foreign. It's an alien that's killing everyone through supernatural means, and it's in a place I will never see. So the location for Halloween just works really well because it's very relatable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, so everybody kind of can. All right, okay, so we're split on setting. Jay, you look like you're gonna say something.
Well, I was just wondering what happens. Do we fight?
Well, no. It's I eliminated someone from the show. No, it's a cumulative. So you can tie the category, but like, for example, right now The Thing is ahead from that. So.
Okay. See, okay.
All right, we'll get it. This is show one. We're doing good. All right. So next up is filmmaking. So surprise. I mean, one of the reasons why I put these two films against each other was because of the filmmaker. So John Carpenter is in control of both of these. So we'll start with Liv.
Okay, filmmaking, that is hands down the thing for me. I'm such a whore for practical effects. And every time I watch The Thing, I'm like, this is disgusting. And it looks so cool and so real, even though it's just like a bunch of rubber and gum. I think that Halloween is cool you know, because it was his first and one of his first.
One of his.
So, you know, you're usually going to have like a lower budget with that. You're going to be stretching yourself way more thin. And also, I mean, a lot of that movie takes place at night. There's a lot of stuff that's shot outside. I work on set in camera department. I know how awful it can be to do like night shoot after night shoot. And it takes its toll. But with the thing, they had to build all of these sets, and it starts completely from scratch. And so I just think it's like both special effects, the setting, the music in it is really good. Obviously, Halloween has very iconic music, but I think that everything in the thing comes together really well from a filmmaking perspective to just make like a really clean movie.
Jay.
I agree with Liv 100%. I love Halloween, but it's also, it was lower budget. They had, I just read they had like almost no time to shoot it. Like the producer scheduled like just a few weeks, and they were completely like, you know, they were under the gun, and they did an amazing movie. But the logistics of like the film shoot for like the thing, and keeping track of all of those different characters as they like move around this location, and you're trying to figure out like who's thing, you know, who was left alone with who, all that stuff. Like it's really complicated, really well done, and on a scale that Halloween can't touch. So that's
Allie.
I hate this question because
she's hated 2 out of the 3.
I have so much respect for how they shot Halloween, though, because it was so fast and they did a lot. Have you ever seen like the way they had to carry the cameras? I just
don't let the people that have gone before you sway you in any way.
Oh, I tell my kids that all the time.
This is your podium to stand on.
I have to say, and what is the question specifically, so I understand?
Well, just basically the filmmaking. Like, you know, sometimes a movie can be really, really enjoyable, really, really quality film in your mind. But you do know that there's flaws in it, and you do like appreciate another one above it. Like, I mean, for example, there's very few flaws in The Godfather, but not everybody loves The Godfather, right? So this is kind of just weighing out the filmmaking, the technical aspects, the pacing, all that kind of nerdy stuff, I guess.
The effects I have to give to the Thane. The Thane is just, you know, you teach students with the Thane. You know, that is such a spellbounding movie. I would give it to the Thane.
All right. I'm going to give filmmaking to the Thing. So I'm like, okay, so this, you know, I studied filmmaking, so this one's always one that I'm going to be really, really critical with. And I know that Halloween was an independent film and really shot on a low budget, but there's been a lot of big budget films that are shot like crap. The Thing wasn't one of them. So I think John Carpenter, I don't think ever, even after The Thing, I don't think he ever quite directed a film as completely and as almost flawlessly. I really ask, I can ask anybody to find flaws in the way the film is directed in The Thing. So I really think that he kind of summited as Everest when he did The Thing. So it's not necessarily that Halloween is bad or anything like that. I just think that The Thing is just leaps and bounds ahead of anything he ever did. Before or after. Halloween was flawed. I mean, there was flaws in it. And again, you can say it's independent and early on in his career, like, you know, a lot of let's get it done. But there's a lot of flaws in Halloween. And I don't think there's very few. Well, I think there's very few, if any, in The Thing. So I'm going to give it to The Thing. Allie, what did you give it to in the end? The Thing, right?
The Thing.
The Thing. All right. Okay, so we're moving on to acting, and we're going to start with who hasn't gone first? Allie hasn't gone first.
Me, my turn first.
All right, acting. And wait, and after this, characters, so don't confuse the two.
Oh no, The Thing. There's so much stress in The Thing. Jamie Lee Curtis is probably the only good actor, in my opinion, in Halloween. Well, no, Donald, obviously, but The Thing, the acting, I love, God, Kurt Russell. Amazing. They're just so stressed out in that movie. It's just, I have to have a drink when I watch it.
Cool.
It's stressful, and you feel that stress. The best acting in The Thing, for sure.
Right.
Don't have to think that one through.
I feel like The Thing is just having such a clean sleep, but
I know.
I'm also gonna go with The Thing. I mean, the character dynamics are really good, and I'm not gonna lie, there are a couple of lines that like are a little goofy. The way they're delivered in Halloween, like every time I watch it, when the friend turns to Laurie and she's like, "Well, I think he's cute," and it cuts to Michael Myers driving by in the car, like I laugh every single time.
Yeah.
But in The Thing, like I'm on the edge of my seat the entire time, and I don't know who to trust because everyone is acting their asses off. Like they're doing such a good job.
Yeah. Jay?
I wish I could be original here or come up with a really compelling argument as to why Halloween has the best performances, but it really doesn't. The kid actors are pretty good, I thought, and Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasance, the actress PJ Souls, is that the woman who was also in Carrie?
Yeah.
As the friend, she kind of drags down her scenes. I remember the bit where they just said they must have just told her, just improvise about the books you're carrying in your bag.
Totally.
and then she just ends up saying books like 600 times in one scene. So yeah, I feel like everyone was just a little rustier in a low budget movie. It's not a contest. Like it's so, I just rewatched The Thing, and it's so tense the whole way through. I definitely have flaws. I've looked at the list, and there are ones I'm giving to Halloween. I just want to say that right now. I have categories that are going to go to Halloween, but not this one.
Okay, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad piling on Halloween right now because it is behind right now for sure. But I don't feel bad in this category. I think like if there's things that I have issues with Halloween, and for me the biggest issue is the acting. I think it's borderline terrible. I think everybody was kind of like, just tenderly walking around the topic, but Nancy Loomis is terrible in the film. PJ Souls, I thought she was, she wasn't as bad as I think Nancy Loomis in delivering her lines. Donald Pleasance, raised the bar for sure. There was nothing weak in that performance. Charles Cypher's the same thing. And I see, this is where I could take a beating. I'm not exactly in love with Jamie Lee Curtis in this film. It's not that I don't like her, and it's not that I thought she was bad, but I thought she was boring. Like that character portrayal to me was boring, and you can argue that she is a boring person and stuff like that, but I don't know. I didn't like that. Does anybody want to come at me on that one?
No, when I was younger, I thought that was kind of the genius of it. I thought they tried to have a plain Jane, and then I got older and I learned who her mom was, the actress in Psycho, and I was like, oh, that's probably why she's in this movie.
Liv?
Where I thought that was kind of what they wanted to do. I'm sorry, Liv.
No, all good. Did I piss you off on that comment?
I mean, she is kind of written to be a little bit one note, and I don't think that they gave her much to work with. I feel like anytime she's on screen and Michael Myers is on screen, you're gonna pay more attention to Michael Myers.
Okay. All right. So that being said, we're on to characters, and let's see what happens on this one. We're gonna start off with Liv.
Okay. I mean, obviously the characters, as we just discussed, are more well-rounded in The Thing. They're all written to have a little bit more personalities. But you can't deny that Michael Myers is the most iconic slasher, probably, I would say over any of the other ones. I mean, he literally has an entire month where people are marathoning his movies. Yes, the characters in The Thing are so much more compelling. But I mean, Michael Myers is Michael Myers, and there's no getting around that really. So I'm gonna have to give it to Halloween just for Michael.
All right, I'm gonna go next because I feel like I always go last. I'm going to again, I'm gonna echo Liv's comments. Like, there's nothing wrong with The Thing, and actually, I think my favorite character, one of my favorite characters in film, is MacReady by Kurt Russell. Like that in all of film. But that being said, the guys are all great, but they're all just guys. Like, and if we're looking at characters and we're taking out the acting, you got your schoolgirls, which was fun and playful. You got your sheriff, you got your doctor, who's almost as crazy as the killer, and you got your killer. You had some, okay, sure, they're tropes and stuff like that, but I like the well-roundedness of that kind of, they created the whole town and the characters in it, and so I give it, just for a little bit of just uniqueness, I give it to Halloween. My first Halloween point. Feel bad. I feel relieved. Okay, so we'll go to Allie.
Michael Myers. Easy. Next question.
That's it. Next question.
Jay. No, it goes to Jay next. That's easy.
Oh, yeah. Me, right? Darn it! I was actually gonna like breeze by in the background and just hide because I walked into this one full on like, it's the thing, and then Liv started talking. I'm like, oh, she's kind of right. Damn it! And then everyone else is like, so now this is the strength of my personality, which isn't really great. So yeah, I'll argue for the thing just because every single character feels like a lived-in person. And even though I watched that movie and they're just like spitting names out left and right, and I can't keep track of who anyone is when they're like Fuchs, where's Fuchs? I'm like, who's Fuchs? But it's even though you can't really keep them straight just because there's just too many names flying around in such a small amount of time. Every single person in that movie feels completely distinct, and you're just like, oh, I remember that guy. Yeah, he's the person who was walking over there, and he was this. He's like, whereas I've had so many movies with characters like this where you're just like, oh shit, who is this guy again? So I will give it to The Thing, even though I lose. So that's okay.
I realized I forgot to use my cards.
Oh,
we would have seen this one a lot, though, I think. But just to show that I did make a Halloween one. There we go. All right. It's my first show. I'm working out the kinks. Give me a break. Okay. So we're moving on to kills. So this can be defined however you want it. If you like your, off-camera imaginative kills, or if you like your gory, gruesome, it's up to you. But we'll start with Jay on this one.
Bit off the guy's hands in the chest.
Yeah. Agreed.
For that moment, that's the moment I think of that. Every time I think of that movie, I think of that moment every single time. And I just didn't know. Halloween, I love. I feel like I'm a broken record every time I talk about Halloween. I love Halloween. Give it to The Thing. But yeah, it's no, they bit off the guy's hands, and then the thing came out of the thing, and then the head, the spider, and then it's like, no, it's The Thing. The Thing kill. If you're going for,
came out of the
thing.
Thing.
Going for kills, it's The Thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Rob Bottin is smiling.
Yeah.
Allie, I think I know what you're gonna say because I think you said it, but
Halloween is so great, but I have never seen. The Thing was so original. That was so different. Michael Myers is so strong, and when he pulls the boyfriend up, I love all that, but The Thing is so uniquely its own that I have to give it to The Thing. Point to The Thing.
Liv.
The Thing. The kills in Halloween are iconic. I've seen so many people recreate all of them, but they're like actually scary still in The Thing. And also, think about all the dogs that died. My heart goes out to all the dogs that die in The Thing. But yeah, just like, I also I always think of the scene where they're tied up in the chairs and he's like testing all the blood.
Oh yeah.
The blood test is the
That's
best.
one of the most painful scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the deaths in that one alone, I'm like gripping the chair and losing the feeling in my hands because the blood is not rushing to them anymore. Because I'm so stressed, even though I know how it ends.
That's cool. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, and further to your point, 2 dogs die in Halloween, so there's a lot of dog deaths in those 2 films.
Did you account for the dogs in your kill count at the beginning?
Yeah.
I didn't. Although I did a show years ago, and I said that, you know, Myers almost offs as many dogs as he does people, and I think it's 5-2. So.
I can think of one dog death in Halloween where there's 2.
There's 2 dog deaths. Don't ask me on the camera to remember them, but I do remember there's 2 dog
one
deaths.
where he eats one, but
yes, there was one that was in his house dead, and then there was one that he actually choked out.
Yeah, he chokes it out.
I don't think that's ever happened. So that maybe that's that improves the kills in Halloween, because I don't think they're that good. I agree with you, Liv. They're iconic. Like, you know, the phone cord, you've seen that portrait done a million times, and it looks really, really cool. You know, but I don't really, you know, I like Nancy Loomis in the car kind of was just all faded and shaded, and all that's cool, and that could be creative, but it doesn't work for me personally. The one that bugs me is Bob's death, because he's a grown-ass man and he's kind of lifting him up by the throat.
I love that part.
No, but which is cool. But the knife, see, I'm just thinking logically, right? Does it have enough to go through?
No, it was too long to
mount to the wall, and it bugs me.
Is the plaster strong enough in the wall, you know?
Exactly. Just a little.
Let it go.
I think too much. But that being said, I mean, yeah, the thing definitely excels with that. I mean, and to this day, it could rival most films in shock value, gore, and all that kind of stuff. So let's go on to scare factor, and I put factor in as opposed to just scary, because there's different elements that people can, or different ways people can judge this, but we're going to go with scare factor. For you, Allie, go.
Halloween, and here's why. The music.
Okay.
I don't think it would be the same. Well, I know it wouldn't be the same without the music, but the music, heebie-jeebies.
Cool.
So that's my answer.
That's your answer.
Answer. Yeah, I think the music does it.
Okay, for me, I'm gonna say The Thing. But mine is like very specifically because I watched The Fly when I was 6 years old, and so body horror has always like really made my skin crawl. After seeing Jeff Goldblum fall apart, like seeing anything where it's bodies just becoming disgustingly anything other than what they are supposed to be, just.
Would you call it body horror?
In The Thing?
Yeah, is that what the term you use? Body horror?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I've never heard that before.
Oh yeah, as in like all of the things that make it scary have to do with the body being torn apart and recreated in some way.
Cool. Jay?
For me, it's always been Halloween. When I was growing up, from like somewhere around 13, 14, when I watched Halloween until, I don't know, for at least 20 years, I would have nightmares about Michael Myers, and I would like wake up in the middle of the night, have to turn off all the lights in the room and hang out for like 20 minutes, and until reality set in that I'm okay and I can go back to sleep. Never had a nightmare about The Thing. Halloween haunted my nightmares for so many years. So I got it. It's just, he freaks the crap out of me, Michael Myers.
This is conversation now, because do you think that's a generational thing? Because if you were to watch Halloween now, and I showed Halloween to a niece of mine who's like petrified of horror films, and it didn't move the needle at all. Like, it doesn't move the needle with the newer generation. Like, they don't see scare in it. Do you think it's just like,
it's are you just trying to say I'm old? Is this what's happening here?
Saying
yeah,
I was going the other way. I was saying I was blaming the young people.
These youngins. Yeah, it is very much generational. I mean, there are people that was like, insist that who probably couldn't sleep for a month after watching Psycho, or or Dead of Night or Frankenstein in the 30s and 40s. Like there are movies every generation you just get more and more desensitized. So I guess I was sensitive at a certain point.
You're so sensitive.
I just think that Michael Myers is so present in media now that it's hard for kids to be scared of him, because they're used to like seeing his face plastered on posters and like mugs everywhere.
It's a good call. Yeah, that's a good, really good point. I think with a lot of these guys, I never even really thought that way with I just know like it doesn't really scare them, but that's probably why. Yeah, you're right. That's a good one. Good job. Just teaching me, Jay. You're not. No. I'm gonna go with The Thing, and we'll just leave it at that. I think it's to me it's just a creepier film. Antagonist. Okay, so this is a good chance for possibly Halloween to wipe up and clear the board, but we'll see how it goes. Jay, lead us off.
Michael Myers, man. It's Michael Myers for the win. It's the antagonist in the Thing is gross, but you can't put a pin in it. You can't say the antagonist is this. This is like it could be anything, but that
could be the good thing about it.
Yeah, it's true, but I've decided it's not. So I know Michael Myers. He's the most iconic thing to come out of both of these movies.
All right,
got to give it to him.
All right, Allie.
Beautiful answer, what Jay said. And I just think that Michael is just this big, tall, scary. That just is scarier to me. Like Liv said, I'm not going to Alaska. So the alien is now, no, I guess you can't pinpoint it. I like what Jay said. And I just can see Michael and he hides. And that's just scarier to me.
All right. Liv?
And I mean, I'm also going to say Michael Myers, but it's funny because like, if you think about it in The Thing, like they do all the calculations for what it could mean on a global scale. And it's way more terrifying than like some guy with a knife. But at the end of the day, there's no like one form for me to think of in The Thing. And when I think of The Thing, I almost don't even know if like I consider The Thing itself to be the antagonist, or if I consider it to be like actual members of the party that are kind of stalling every movement they could make.
Yeah,
like The Thing almost feels like more of a factor than the actual antagonist itself,
which is kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Halloween on this. I grew up, and I grew up in an era where there wasn't all that stuff everywhere. And you had to, Michael Myers was enigmatic, and he just had a few films to his name, and he wasn't on coffee mugs, he wasn't on shirts and stuff like that, and he was so cool because of that. So that's always going to be in me. So in the end, I got to give it to the more distinct killer, and of course a pretty iconic one. So Michael Myers. All right, so we're on the last category already. You guys are good. You guys are like right to the point and poignant. All right, the ending of the film. Jay.
I'm giving it to Halloween, and the reason is that I love the part at the end where it's just Keith David and Kurt Russell, and they're in the snow, and they're both like, we're totally fucked. And even if one of us is the Thing, there's literally nothing the other one could do about it. So I'm just going to lie here and freeze to death. And they're both kind of like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do too. But just before that, the weakest part of The Thing for me was the ending with where Kurt Russell has to run and blow up the big kind of, and that's the only part alien I didn't like, was the big alien that kind of reveals.
Fuck you too. That part.
I thought I don't mean you did. I was like, oh shit, I touched a nerve.
No one makes fun of the ending of The Thing on my show.
Yeah, so that's my least favorite part of the movie. I mean, the bit with Keith David and Kurt Russell's cool at the end when they're both just give up, but the kind of the big kind of the action moment where they blows him up and the alien there looks kind of goofy. it's not great. And Halloween's is it's perfect in keeping with the movie. Like he's an unstoppable monster, and he falls and then he disappears, and then they just show like your neighborhood. It could be here, you could be here, you could be here. Isn't that scary? It worked.
Allie?
That's it.
First, I had to remember what's the very last shot of Halloween.
Well, that's why you were supposed to watch them. That's why you had homework before this show, Allie.
Right. But even with how I would have to say The Thing, because it's so somber. It is don't know if it's you, it's, not me, but it's just so somber. The way and then it just closes out like that, and you're left to think, what happened? How is that how long are they going to be there? So I have to say The Thing.
It's funny because hearing Jay talk about it, I'm now realizing that both movies end with like it could be anyone, it could be anywhere kind of ending.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do love that the ending of The Thing is like, you don't know. And there's so much, like, there's so many debates on the internet of people being like, well, one of them is sweating and the other one isn't. So like, because he's not sweating, he doesn't have any actual bodily function. He must be the thing now. But also at the end of the day, like, they're both just going to sit there and freeze. And I think the actual technical solution to The Thing is that the monster does freeze again, and just hopefully no one discovers it. So like, there's a mystery, but there is a solution that they have technically probably come to. We can assume, especially because we don't have 5,000 sequels like we do with Halloween. But I mean, the ending of Halloween, again, it's just it's so iconic. Everyone knows the ending of like, you look out the window and he's there, and then you look away and then you look out the window again and he's gone. But also I do just love that, it's the first slasher. It's like the beginning of this movement where you have a woman who's in peril, and by the end she's like learning to fight back and take control of the situation. And so while it's not like the ending like the very last shot, it feels good as a woman watching it.
So what was your
my answer's Halloween.
Yeah, I was genuinely like, I don't know which way she's gonna go with that. She's like, you're bringing up all these good points for both of them. I was kind of like wondering. So what was your final?
Halloween.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, I kind of am like you, live in the sense that like I think both executed well. And that's always like, a movie can't be great if it has a bad ending. I've determined that in life. Like, you cannot have an unbelievable film without a good ending. And both of these films really brought it home in probably the best ways for each story to play out. I'm going to give the edge to The Thing, because to me, it was such a different ending. It was, just, there was no hope. They won, but they didn't, so you got your moral victory. Maybe you had probably the two most badass characters face to face at the end. They couldn't do nothing about it. They didn't want to do nothing about it. So it was a change in their mentality right at the end, because they were just done. But were they? Probably, but were they? I don't know. So those kind of questions, I just don't think that there has been very many endings like The Thing. So I got to give it that unique factor. And but both, I thought, ended the way they should. All right, so after tabulating the votes, it was Halloween with 13 votes throughout the categories, and The Thing with 23. So The Thing scores the win. John Carpenter, 1982 classic. So were you surprised, Jay, with the win for The Thing?
Not at all. At least not from my count. I think about like whatever 70% of them I was like leaning Thing. So I kind of figured most people. It's more polished. It's more professional. They had more money. John Carpenter done couple of movies in between. He just had more confidence, I think. And
just for people watching this, I want to make sure that they don't think I loaded up the Thing panel here. We all like Halloween, right?
Love Halloween. Great.
Love Halloween.
Very near and dear to my heart.
Okay. The Thing wins episode 1 of Horror Face Off. I'd like to thank my guests, Jay, Allie, Liv, and you're going to see these faces on other episodes moving forward. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.